Hey folks, this is Nick O'Malley here with Kevin Duffy. We're here live from University of Phoenix Stadium where it is 104 degrees out right now. But more importantly, the more important numbers that the Patriots are currently 9.5 underdog favorites to the Cardinals for the game that starts here in a few hours. It's a little after 6 here, and the game starts at 8:30 p.m. your time on Sunday Night Football. So Kevin, what are you expecting from tonight's game?
Well, today's kind of one of those games where I don't think anyone's expecting them to win, which our buddy Doug Hyde at Nesson tweeted earlier today. The Patriots haven't been 9.5-point underdogs since which Super Bowl? It was the Super Bowl against the Rams. So it's been a decade and a half since they've been facing this kind of, and the spread makes sense. 9.5 points. The Patriots are just kind of coming into this season in a similar way to they left last season. They're just very beat up. You're starting Jimmy Garoppolo on the road in primetime against a team that won 12 games. Really good team. You compound that with no Gronkowski, no Nate Solder, your left tackle. Not many people are talking about Nate Solder's absence is going to.
Oh, and we're back.
Okay.
All right, that was peculiar.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, so
I think what I was basically saying was no one's expecting them to win this game. I guess I could see it happening though, because this is like Bill Belichick's ultimate test.
Yeah.
Like it's him without Tom Brady. It's against a great team. I think the Pats defense is going to turn the Cardinals over a few times, and they're going to need to. I think that they can turn them over if they get a defensive touchdown, if they set up Jimmy Garoppolo with a short field. I do think the Patriots have a chance, because the Cardinals, I mean, I'm a little worried about the Cardinals offense from their perspective. Watching the way the NFC Championship game unfolded, Carson Palmer had 6 turnovers. Palmer's thrown 3 picks on 22 attempts in the preseason. So I think the potential is there for the Patriots to create something with their defense.
yeah, it's a weird matchup because as we were talking, like if you were going to pick a way to kind of dismantle an offense, like, well, you have to pick 4 players you have to remove from the team. Who would you remove? The top receiver, the running back, the quarterback, and the left tackle. Those are like the 4 most important pieces, and they're all gone.
Yep.
The Patriots, though, they're an interesting matchup for the Cardinals because the Cardinals' biggest weapons are they have 3 great receivers. However, the Patriots have a really good secondary right now. They have Logan Ryan, who's good against bigger wide receivers, Malcolm Butler, who's a legit number 1 corner, and then they have Pat Chung, who's good against quick receivers. They have a deep secondary, and that guy like Duron Harmon, and they could just keep rotating defensive backs in and out throughout the entire game. It's a strength that a lot of teams don't have. And then there's David Johnson, and the Patriots have a good run defense with 2 great linebackers. Right. Which, if the Cardinals are going to do something offensively, what do you think is the biggest threat that the Patriots have to look out for?
Well, the Cardinals certainly have probably the toughest vertical passing attack to defend. I mean, they'll run with their route concepts. I mean, they'll run basically 1 guy at each level. So they're always going to have someone stressing the defense vertically. And I mean, it's as good as the Pat secondary is, it's tough to defend Michael Floyd, and John Brown's got so much speed, and then you have Fitz really working underneath routes, and I think that they certainly have a potential to be an explosive offense. I don't know if the Patriots are going to stifle them and stop them from gaining yardage, but I think that they do have the opportunity to create turnovers, and that's, I mean, you can say that about almost any game, like, oh, if they create turnovers, they're going to win, obviously, but I think it's even a bigger point in this game because of the way Carson Palmer has taken care of the ball recently.
Who gets the most emphasis in the Patriots offense, or who gets the more emphasis, the biggest bump with Gronk out?
Well, the obvious choice is Martellus Bennett. I think Bennett is going to play 90% of the snaps. I think he'll see probably 8 to 10 targets in the passing game. But I think they're going to try to run the ball. I don't know how much success the Pats are going to have doing it, but they got to try, because you don't want to put this all on Jimmy Garoppolo in his first start. You don't want him throwing 45 times in this game. So I think early on they're going to try to establish LeGarrette Blount. If that doesn't work, they probably will go to getting the ball out quickly to James White, to Edelman, to Hogan on wide receiver screens. Those kind of plays that almost are like substitutes for running plays when you can't run between the tackles. So, I think they're going to try to simplify it for Garoppolo early.
All right, we got one question so far asking how the weather is out here. It's at the Open that was 104 out, but we talked about this in the week leading in that it's a dry heat, and it definitely is different from what it was like in New England, which it was like at worst high 80s, low 90s when it was getting real bad out there, and then like here it's like you feel it, but it doesn't like.
It doesn't feel like 104. It didn't feel like 104 yesterday.
It's less. it's more warm, like you're wearing a warm blanket, or like getting a shirt fresh out of the dryer. Where in Massachusetts, it's just like sweltering. It's like those real dank adjectives to describe how terrible it is out where you're just lying on the couch and just feeling like death and just melting. This one's just warm and just you feel heat coming in, and I probably shouldn't stay out too long because I will burn to a crisp like a lobster.
Yeah.
However, it is nice in here. You can see the stadium behind us. Was the roof closed? I couldn't tell. I think it was closed.
I believe the roof is closed for tonight, yes.
On the Cardinals' defense, who do you think gives Jimmy Garoppolo, or what do you think the Cardinals are going to do defensively to give Jimmy Garoppolo trouble?
They're going to come after him, I think, pretty hard, and I mean, try to probably confuse him with some blitz schemes that he hasn't seen. I mean, in the preseason, I charted it, and I saw Garoppolo on 58 dropbacks, only got blitzed 12 times, so it's about, I think it was 21% or so. The Cardinals last year blitzed about twice that rate, like in the low 40s. So he's going to get blitzed more than he got blitzed in the preseason, and he's going to see stuff he hasn't seen. To me, one of the biggest factors in this game is Garoppolo's ability to improvise and to extend a play that another quarterback couldn't extend. And we've seen in a couple of, even dating back to his Week 17 game against the Bills, he can spin out of, it's between his athleticism and his instinct, he can really spin out of what could be a sack, and he's come within inches of completing really big passes.
Those Cam Newton plays where it makes a guy miss, where it's side.
Right. And that's it's kind of a weird. You can't necessarily count on a quarterback doing that. It's not like the Patriots are going into this game and being like, well, you know, if we can't run, we'll be fine because Jimmy's going to spin out of a few sacks and throw a ball 40 yards downfield. We've seen him do that. He hasn't, on a few of those, he hasn't actually made the completion, but they've been like off the receiver's fingers, like just right there, potentially game-changing
plays. Off like
plays.
the fourth and fifth receiver's fingers.
Right. Keyshawn Martin, he had deep in the preseason on a play like that where he basically evaded the rush, escaped outside the pocket. I really believe that that's the biggest thing. I think if he can make good on like 2 or 3 of those, that really could change the game. I mean, those can be like potentially just like huge gains. And then the flip side of that is sometimes Garoppolo will spin out of a sack and he'll actually go backwards and he'll end up taking like a 15-yard sack where a quarterback who wasn't as athletic as him would have taken a 5-yard sack. So it kind of goes both ways. It's a real wild card with him to see basically what he does when he can use his legs and get outside the pocket.
You just touched on this, the fact that we saw Garoppolo in the preseason, he didn't get blitzed much, but the Patriots also don't show that much. Belichick said, like, when people say, oh, the third preseason game is the closest to a regular season game, he just goes, what are you talking about? It's not even close.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned in a column this week that we've seen Garoppolo for 3 preseasons now, we've seen him in some spot duty in the regular season, and we have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
What do you think is going to be the biggest difference? The boost Garoppolo gets from getting the full keys to the offense, or the bump from the defense going from vanilla schemes to just going balls to the wall against him?
It's going to be tough because there definitely is it goes both ways, as you said. I don't think the Patriots are totally going to revamp what they do offensively, but I do think they're going to implement some wrinkles to take advantage of Garoppolo's athleticism and his skill set compared to Tom Brady's skill set. In the preseason, you really didn't see any of that. You saw one design rollout in 58 dropbacks. So I think in like third and short situations, you get him moving a little bit, get him outside the pocket. That's one wrinkle I think that could work in his favor. Ultimately, if I had to actually answer your question, I think the defense he's going to see is going to play a bigger role in the game than any changes the Patriots make to the offense, I would say.
Do you think they actually, or what are the chances do you think that they install a read option for Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't know. Maybe they'll run one. Maybe, I don't know. We saw Aaron Rodgers ran a read option today during the Packers.
They did it with Tebow a couple of years ago.
Exactly. So they might. I think they might install a few plays like that. Just again, like not revamping things, but taking advantage of the skill set of Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's sensible to do so. It's also sensible to not show your hand in the preseason. So there's a lot of unknowns today. That's why I think everyone's so excited for this game, because people are expecting the Pats to lose, but you don't know. No one truly knows what they have in Jimmy Garoppolo. It's crazy because we've seen him for 3 years, but no one knows until tonight we can really get our first glimpse of what he actually is.
All right, prediction for tonight's game.
I went with 23-13 Arizona. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Don't know what the over/under is, but I love the under.
Right.
I think that the Pats will probably have some trouble moving the ball. I think Arizona's offense just to me has looked a little clunky. I know it's the preseason, but I think that what happened at the end of 2015 too. I mean, they look. They wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't surprise me if Arizona offensively does not match what they did last year. They averaged 30 points a game last year. I think they might take a little step back. I like it as a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a weird first game of the season. So I'm gonna pick a weird score. I'm gonna pick 25-19.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's
That's
gonna.
better than my vanilla
I think it's
pick.
gonna get weird. Like a lot of field goals, maybe a 2-point conversion or a safety. This is not going to be your usual game because I agree. I think the Patriots defense does make things hard for the Cardinals, and some weird plays happen there. I think Garoppolo and the offense can move the ball. My real concern is in the end zone or the red zone because he moved the ball in the preseason, like between the 20s, but when he got in the red zone, like he made some weird plays where he rolled out to the left and threw back over the middle, and everyone in the press box was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously not having Gronkowski down there is
Yeah.
an enormous factor. I'll just leave, I guess, on this stat which I found so interesting. Looking at Tom Brady's success with and without Gronkowski, he had in the 16 games Gronk's missed since 2012. Brady has had a 82.2 passer rating. In the games that Gronkowski's played, he's got a 101.1 passer rating. That's an enormous difference. A lot of that was in the 2013 season when the Pats offense wasn't as good, so you could attribute it to that. But his TD to interception ratio is twice as good with Gronkowski. I mean, I think sometimes stats can be misleading. In this case, I think it is a reflection of just truly the difference that Rob Gronkowski makes when he's out there.
It kind of just makes the whole offense better around.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so we have full coverage throughout the game, and we'll be back after the game with, well, won't be on here after the game, but we'll have full coverage after the game, so stick to it with MassLive.com. All right, thanks for stopping by.